So let's talk a little bit about the Archonic control structure that humanity has been subject to, that is coming to an end, my friends. And this is why, as chaotic as things are right now, this is really a time of celebration and jubilation, because this system of suppression is coming to an end. And those entities and humans involved in it, whether they're fully human, that remains to be seen, but their time is coming to an end at last. So there's lots of different theories and versions of this story out there. I'm going to tell you about Aeons and Archons, because this is how Yeshua tells it in the document Pistis Sophia. But if you've heard of the Saturn Moon Matrix, simulation theory, prison planet theories, yeah, some of the details vary a little bit, but it is all the same seed. It's all the same concept, that we are living in an illusion, and these ruling entities have been siphoning and harvesting our energy and keeping humanity in a lowered state of consciousness. There's that common thread. But I'm interested in how Yeshua told it. So I'm going to be telling it how he explains it in Pistis Sophia. If you don't know what Pistis Sophia is, it is a primary source document of early Christianity. It is not a narrative like many other biblical sources. It is a transcript. It is a conversation that happens between Yeshua and primarily Mary Magdalene, but all the women, his mother Mary, Martha, Salome, other women are involved in it. So it's a dialogue, and Philip is told by Yeshua that you sit down and you transcribe this dialogue that we're having here. Okay, so as far as historical documents are concerned, Pistis Sophia is way different, because it is a whole lot like a court transcript. Jesus said this, Mary said this, Jesus said this. All right, so there's no narrative sort of interpretation of things going on. It's just this is what they said. And so when do these dialogues take place? These dialogues take place after Yeshua's resurrection. Okay, so after the crucifixion, after the resurrection, we know Yeshua came back and talked to all the disciples and appeared to them. He continued to appear to them for 11 years and continued teaching that core group of disciples. What did he say? What did he teach them? That is what is in Pistis Sophia, okay? And the fact that that book was kept out of church doctrine tells you a whole lot about the motivations and intentions of church authorities. They didn't want you to know what he said. Another little clue here, the core group of disciples that Jesus is teaching doesn't include Paul. Paul wasn't in the club. He wasn't included in this group. So there's your second clue. And I'll just throw this in too real fast. Peter is there in inserting himself in this dialogue as well. And he's kind of a jerk. he's a big jerk. And you can tell that he hates women, and he has a particular disdain for Mary Magdalene. And he does not understand what Yeshua is teaching. He lacks understanding. And who has understanding is the women, but especially Mary Magdalene. But Peter doesn't get it, and Peter's a jerk. So there's clue number 3. So what Yeshua describes to Mary in this dialogue is that he heard the cries of a divine entity, Sophia, during the 3 days that he was dead, after the crucifixion, but before the resurrection. Okay. And during that time, he traveled through heavenly realms, which was essentially time traveling. And what he describes happening in those heavenly realms is our present day. He took a 2,000-year journey through the heavens that is just now showing up in our present day. But the reason that I say that is our present day, we are just seeing the signs of that happening in our present day. The reason that I am saying that is because that is what the convergence is. That is what was witnessed during Project Looking Glass. Why did all these timelines suddenly collapse into only one outcome? It is because Yeshua was correcting the cogwheels of time and space and collapsing these timelines and wrangling in the Archons. That is why there was only one outcome. That is why light wins. That is why light wins happens. That is what Pistis Sophia tells us, and that is our present day. It's already been witnessed. They just didn't know what they were witnessing. He tells us about 2 types of beings in the heavens, Aeons and Archons. And he said the Archons are these entities that descended and ultimately formed the cogwheels of time and space and the zodiac. And this is the system that humanity is trapped in, or that is the system that is running the simulation. Now, he doesn't say all Archons are evil, but some of them are. Some of the Archons are doing their jobs, righteously running the cogwheels of time and fate. Others were malevolent, starting with Althades, and Adamus the Tyrant is another one that is specifically named as a source of these problems. And these 2 entities are also named as the source of fallen angels and demons, because these Archonic entities are going down and they're self-spawning below the firmament. So what he tells us is he's been involved in a great cosmic battle along with the archangels Michael and Gabriel in the heavenly realms, because when he goes to rescue Sophia, who has been praying and praying and praying for redemption, he runs into these entities called the Archons, and he sees what they are doing. And what they did was they were not only up to tricking and trapping and deceiving divine entities like Sophia, other Aeonic entities. They were manipulating the cogwheels of time. They were siphoning off energy from humanity. They were stopping human souls after death and turning them back towards Earth so that they would be recycled endlessly in a loop of never-ending reincarnation, so that they could be energy harvested again and again and again. These Archonic entities were also working with some beings on Earth. I hesitate to call them human because I don't know that they are fully human, but some here have worked with Archonic forces to conduct black magic and extend that controlling force, that prison system, even further down the line. So when in church they say Jesus died for our sins, he was sacrificed for our sins, he died for our sins, that is not what happened, and that is not what he says. What he did was conquer the human experience to show us the way, and he conquered death in order to correct the injustices that were happening in the cosmos at the hands of the Archons, so that from this moment forward, human souls would no longer be trapped in this prison system. Now that heavenly adjustments have been made, when a human soul dies, they are not met with a false light and recycled and harvested endlessly. Human souls are now allowed to ascend righteously according to their level of mastery on the earth plane. I want to throw this in there too real quick. I haven't really told you about the story of Sophia, but I think it's interesting when looking at how Jesus is describing this archonic system of control, with them kicking back human souls for reincarnation. And then when you think about the Saturn moon matrix theory, that when humans cross over, they're met with a false light and it's a trick and they're recycled back on Earth. And then when you think about how Sophia fell, she was also presented with a false light that she entered into, whereby she fell and descended and wound up in the realm of chaos there. So that is this deception by false light. There's the common thread there, and that is no mistake.